Alright, YouTube, this is Draconi here over at the Dueling Network. Today we're going to be profiling a friend's Exodia XYZ deck. Actually, quite a very interesting deck. I've dueled it several times, and it is the ultimate. It is almost one of the best original lockdown decks I've seen. And it may be classified as an Exodia deck too, but it's an Exodia deck that can cause damage in more ways than one. This deck can just hit for so much damage with the exceeds and just in the main monsters. It's just an incredibly built deck. Alright, now on to the monsters. I want to talk about these monsters first. One Atlantean Pikeman, one left leg, one left arm, one right arm, one right leg. Now all these four are the parts of the Exodia monster, which you have to get all 5 pieces to win the game. Atlantic Pikeman is just a floater for rank 2 Exceed summoning that can be got out with Deep Sea Diva, which he runs 3 of, and its effect is if you normal summon it, you can special summon one level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type from your deck, which is actually very handy. Go +1 on a normal summon. 3 Emissary of the Afterlife, getting Exodia pieces to the hand, getting your Night Assailant to your hand, or whatever you want to do with it. 1 Exodia the Forbidden One, this is the final piece of the Exodia monster. If you get this piece with all 4 of the other pieces mentioned earlier, you win the duel automatically. Your opponent cannot negate it. 1 Night Assailant, destroy 1 of your opponent's monsters, recover a flip effect monster from your deck, your graveyard. 2 Spear Cretin, getting 1 monster to the field, getting the Songin, getting a Steel Swarm Sentinel, cards like that. 3 Tour Guide from the Underworld, pretty pro card here. Although her effect is not as powerful as it once was before the new XYZ ruling came out. Songin, coupled with Tour Guide, it cannot get its effect due to the new XYZ ruling. Now, I want to talk about his extra deck next. 2 Gachi Gantetsu, a very actually interesting card for this deck. It gives 400 attack to his main monsters, and it's almost impossible to get over with low-level monsters. And with the gravity bind at 3 that he runs, it's almost impossible to get over. 3 Grenosaurus, if he destroys opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, he can detach 1 XYZ material to inflict 1000 damage to his opponent. Very good effect. Helps to get their life points down if you're not drawing into Exodia. 3 number 17, a staple. Detach 1 XYZ material. This card can gain 500 attack. Well, it gains 500 attack. The only problem is, if it has no XYZ material, it cannot attack your opponent directly. 2 number 20, Giganto Brilliant. Now, this card is not run that much, but it's a once per turn, detach 1 XYZ material from this card. It can gain 300 attack to all monsters on the field, including itself. He runs 2 of those. 2 Shine Elf, not a staple yet, but it will be. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card to that monster loses 500 attack, permanent loss. 3 Submersible Carrier Arrow Shark, rank 3 Exceed, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for their banished monsters. Works good in macro decks. For here it works good because if you get up against one of those decks, you can just inflict horrible amounts of damage. Now I want to talk about his trap selection next. He only runs 8 traps in this deck, along with 20 monsters and 12 spells. The traps are a critical part of this deck, but they're almost a way to lock your opponent down and just keep your opponent minus. 3 Gravity Bind coupled with level limit equals no attacks for your opponent, and that's good well, your level 4s can attack too, but mostly if you're running it, you're running a bulk of lower level monsters which can get over this effect. Solemn Judgment, just to negate their Starlight Roads, their Stardust Dragon summons, their Scrap Dragon summons. Warning does the same thing. Starlight Roads takes out their special summons, normal summons. Torrential Tribute, just force the field clear. Make your opponent go minus if they've swarmed with big beaters like Dark Worlds, your Golds, your Grappas, your Silvas. Those cards can swarm so easily with Dark World. Mirror Force is the same way here. He can Mirror Force his opponents at attacking force to make them go minus, which is all about keeping your field as plus. Now his spell selection is weird because it's 12, but it's a very good spell selection. 2 Magical Mallet, Exodia staple card to reach to shuffle any number of cards from your hand back into the deck, then draw equal amount of cards. 1 Allure of Darkness, you can remove, say, Tour Guide to draw 2. Dark Hole, clear the field again. It's one of those control cards which keeps your opponent